We're especially thankful this week for the many grants and funding opportunities Greene County has received through the hard work of our dedicated staff. Grant us His grace to use these gifts in a manner that is pleasing to you, ensuring that every decision fosters unity, promotes peace, and justice for all. We ask that for your protection over our first responders in public service, who emphasize love of neighbor through the selfless service. May they be strengthened and shielded by your mighty hand. Inspire us, Lord, to lead with integrity, to listen with empathy, and to act with courage, always mindful of the least among us. May our efforts today contribute to a county that flourishes and hope nourished by a community committed to the common good. In the name of Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Fellow Commissioners, you have the proposed agenda for today's meeting. I wish to add on the proposed agenda, item E4, which is to talk about an award for an RFP for our old elections building renovation. And also add a closed session for attorney-client privilege. Make that H and make I adjourn.
Move to approve the agenda, Mr. Chairman, with all the corrections omitted.
Have a motion for approval and a second with the addition of those two items. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion signify so by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. You also have in your packets the proposed consent agenda for today's meeting. Is there a need for any change to the proposed consent agenda?
Hearing no changes, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda for today's meeting.
Have a motion for approval of the consent agenda. Is there a second? Have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion signify so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. We have no one for public comments. We'll get right into our county manager's report.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Our first item for action today is change order number 1 for EMS 3. Change order number 1 is a series of change orders. It is addition of wall-mounted outlet boxes for the bedrooms, changing an asphalt apron to a concrete apron in the parking, and then adding 3 additional parking spaces in the rear of the building. I believe I've included those, and total cost is just over $12,000.
We still within budget?
Yes, yes, sir.
And the three parking spaces is gonna be fenced in, correct, behind the
Yes,
building?
sir. They'll be in the fence.
Move to approve the change order, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion signify so by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion is carried unanimously.
Thank you. Next item for action is acceptance of a grant award from the Animal Shelter Support Fund. Grant award in the amount of $50,000 was received or awarded from the Animal Shelter Support Fund to help us maintain 3 initiatives. 1 was flooring, 2 is fencing, and 3 is painting of the animal shelter. All routine maintenance that we keep up every 3, 4, 5 years. This is a great addition. It will help us budgetarily. Are there questions?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All the money will go to the animal shelter, correct?
Yes, sir. In accordance with the grant.
Right, okay. Cause there were some questions about that, so I just wanna make sure everybody knows that. Since it was a grant for the animal shelter, all the money will go to the animal shelter.
Yeah. In a big picture, the Board of Commissioners has really treated and saw well that the animal shelter was provided for. This is funding in addition to their annual budget that can be used for these improvements as we look to the future.
Any other questions?
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion for approval, do I have a second? Second. Have a motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion signify so by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the motion is carried unanimously.
Thank you. Next item for action is an athletic complex lease with Top Gun Sports. This is basically a lease agreement with Top Gun, which is what we were doing, but it's reduced to writing. It explains the terms that each party will fulfill, and it explains the financial pieces that maybe will allow more transparency from the community as to what the recreation department is doing and is entitled to. Are there questions?
Are there any other groups out there that at least will put on
There are.
besides Top Gun?
Yes, there are two others, if I'm not mistaken. We've not been approached by another in quite some time. I know in the past we had been, and that the name of that organization slips my mind, but basically it gives.
There's a book in Florida that puts.
This lease gives Top Gun exclusive first rights for the dates in Exhibit A, and then it outlines what we will provide and what they will provide.
So they'll have first party
For the dates in Exhibit A,
for the dates that they want.
yes,
And this is what we've done in the past, but we haven't had it in writing.
that's right. We've already been doing it. It's never been reduced to writing in this form and fashion.
Okay.
Now, like Mike, does he have to be out there for this?
I believe Mike is out there, but he is not being paid by them or the county. He's out there for his own enjoyment and entertainment, I guess. That's my understanding.
Does he have a designee does Mike have a designee to be out there?
If I'm not mistaken, Top Gun provides field rent, and then they pay individuals to kind of keep watch on the facilities.
All right. Go ahead and move to approve this agreement with Top Gun Sport, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion, do I have a second? Second. Have a motion and a second, any further discussion?
Just make sure you follow up on what you're talking about. So you're not sure about, just follow up on that.
I'm sorry?
Just follow up on how they manage facilities, just follow up on that. You said you're not sure, just follow up on that.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion signify so by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the motion is carried.
Thank you. Last item for your action this morning is an award of the Old Elections Building Renovations RFP. Two bids were received. One was Design Co. Construction Incorporated at $360,000 plus a $20,000 contingency. And the second was Carolina Bay Construction at $415,000 plus a $40,000 contingency. We received two bids. These were the amounts proposed from both organizations, both companies. It would be staff's recommendation to go with a low-cost, responsive bidder, which would be Design Co. Construction.
Have you discussed this plan with the individuals,
No, sir.
so you don't know if they're gonna meet the needs or not yet?
I'm sorry, say it
You
again.
do not know if they're gonna meet the needs or not, our needs or not, you haven't discussed it.
What about needs?
I asked, have you discussed our needs with these individual bidders?
With the builders.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Both of these construction companies came to the facility with me or with other members of the county, discussed the bid, the RFP, and both wanted instruction to bid the RFP as written. If there were alternatives, add those in the end. The alternatives would be ideas for improvement on the initial concept, but bidding the concept makes an apples and apples comparison for your vote.
So it's apples to apples comparison, but there's a huge difference in that, right? What's the main difference between the two bids?
That's really not a huge difference, but that is a difference. And according to our informal bid policy, it's my
$55,000, a lot of money.
it's my job to go with or to recommend the low cost, responsible, responsive bidder.
Very good,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I move to, give the contract to Design Code Construction Incorporated to renovate the old election building.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion signify so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion is carried unanimously.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
We weren't supposed to be through with the EMS building anymore.
According to the RFP, it was by the end of April, but I think they're ahead of schedule. So I'm hoping they'll be completed mid-April. Maybe we can do a ribbon cutting by the end of April.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Madam County Attorney, any comments?
Yes, sir. I believe I should comment again on NCGS 143.318.10, Section C. And the reason being, a young college student has published a poorly researched article in the Standard, which seems to imply that this Board of Commissioners may have erred in failing to name Ms. Ramsey and Greene County as parties to a lawsuit in previous closed sessions, and that's not accurate. North Carolina General Statute 143.318.10C addresses calling a closed session and states a public body may hold a closed session only upon a motion duly made and adopted at an open meeting. Every motion to close a meeting shall cite one or more of the permissible purposes listed in subsection A. A motion based on subdivision A3, which is attorney-client privilege, shall identify the parties in each existing lawsuit. A lawsuit does not exist until it has been filed in a court. The lawsuit filed by Ms. Ramsey was filed on September 21st, 2023. However, the lawsuit was not served on any Greene County employee or official until the afternoon of October 2nd, 2023, and service continued on various defendants and departments through October 23rd, 2023. Until a party is served with a copy of a complaint, the party has no way of knowing that the complaint has been filed. The clerk's office is not required to alert the party and did not in this case. The party filing a lawsuit is not required to do anything except formal service. The next commissioners' meeting following service of process, and therefore the county's knowledge that a lawsuit existed, was October 16th, 2023. It was my plan to address you all in closed session and advise you that a suit had been filed, etc. Unfortunately, on October 13th, I became extremely ill with COVID. I was out of work until October 23rd, and I missed the October 16th meeting. So the matter was addressed during closed session on November 6, 2023. The November 6, 2023 agenda correctly reflects closed session for attorney-client privilege, economic development, and personnel. The motion for closed session was correctly made on November 6, 2023. And I stress the motion because the statute does not require the agenda to identify parties, only that the motion identify parties if there is an existing lawsuit. The motion correctly identified the three reasons for closed session. The commissioner making the motion could not have known about the suit, as I had not yet had an opportunity to address this board regarding that matter, and therefore could not have named the parties in making the motion. By my notes, the only discussion of this lawsuit since November 6, 2023, was again on February 5th, 2024, when the closed session was correctly identified by attorney-client privilege and the name of the existing lawsuit. Any prior discussions that may or may not have been had in closed session would have been confidential, not just under attorney-client privilege, but most especially confidential personnel matters that cannot be publicly disclosed. North Carolina General Statute 143-318.10A6 states a closed session may be called to hear or investigate a complaint, charge, or grievance by or against an individual public officer or employee, and there is never a requirement to name the employee. We don't do that. None of the employees involved in this current existing lawsuit have waived their confidentiality as employees. The only waiver is to the extent Ms. Ramsey has filed a complaint in court and made those allegations public. This novice reporter also seems to have indicated that she got her information from Commissioner Burris's Facebook page, not the official minutes themselves or the meeting itself. I'd like to point out that Commissioner Burris posted the minutes, his comments, a photograph of the agenda, and a link to the video recording of the meetings. For every meeting, not just the one she chose to quote. Facebook is not a primary source. And all you have to do on Commissioner Burris's Facebook page is touch the link and you will be taken to the Greene County YouTube channel where you can watch the actual meeting and hear and see everything that was said. If you do that, you will see and hear that at only 3 minutes, 19 seconds into the meeting, through 5 minutes, 4 seconds, I responded to Commissioner Burris's concerns about putting formal names to the lawsuit on the agenda. It is clear from the article published in the Standard that the reporter did not watch any of the commissioners' meetings and did not understand Commissioner Burris's comments on Facebook or care what the minutes referred to when they state the county attorney explained. Further, it is obvious from the article that this reporter's research for this article consisted only of the complaint provided anonymously to the paper, the federal court website, and Facebook. She did not bother to read the documents attached to the agenda. She did not bother to read any of the motions or other pleadings filed with the court. This is obvious from the title of the article that the case is stalled in federal court. There's nothing to indicate this case is stalled, and I'm certain that insult and inaccuracy does not reflect well on our federal district court. Finally, and I believe this is very important because it just simply demonstrates the amount of work, integrity, and effort it went into this article and in checking it. The article reports that the county commissioners meeting took place on Friday, February 2nd, 2024, instead of Monday. I'm explaining this again, and I apologize that I'm explaining it at length and in such detail. We previously discussed it, but I want to be clear that the commissioners have not violated any statutes with regards to holding closed session. I will finally add that the reporter did not speak with me regarding the agenda question or any other question. In fact, she specifically declined to speak with me when the county manager advised her on the telephone that I was available and in the office. She declined to be transferred to me and said she would call me at a later date and never did.
Thank you.
Thank you for that valuable information.
Well, given putting false information in the paper, can we demand a reprint or what?
We can certainly ask for a reprint, we can ask for a retraction. And I will say that the First Amendment right to freedom of speech and the right to freedom of the press has no requirement that it be accurate. And you may all recall a very famous Chicago Tribune faux pas when they announced that Dewey had beat Truman and was president of the United States. All we can do is take what we read with a grain of salt and consider the sources cited and how informed the writer was.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just a comment, because that's the way I am. I'm very protective of Greene County. I'm very protective of this board. It saddens me when allegations go out. And electronic media can be a wonderful thing. I'll just make a comment. Commissioner Johnson asked a question for clarity about the grant that we received for the animal shelter. And was it going to go to the animal shelter? And I know why he made that comment, because on social media, someone blasted us and said the county was going to take the money and put it in the general fund, and the animal shelter would never see anything. It saddens me that people take this attitude of aggression against the integrity of this board. When you receive grants, the county does receive the money and put it in the appropriate location to be dispersed for the appropriate need. That is the channel by which funds are dispersed for the projects we have. I regret that some allegations have been made against this county relative to a lawsuit, and that's all I'm going to say. Commissioner reports and recommendations. I have one that I'd like to comment on, and that is that traditionally in the spring we do have a meeting over at the North Community College Workforce Development Center over here on Harper Street for the Boys and Girls Club presentations. And so we always meet on a morning generally in the spring. And we may have a second one depending upon COVID and other activities. But we will be meeting this year on April the 23rd from 7:30 until 9 o'clock. That's a Tuesday, April the 23rd, for breakfast that's provided by Rouse's Restaurant, actually, for the Boys and Girls Club meeting that morning. So come out there and join us with it. Any other comments from the?
Yeah.
I would like to also, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'd like to also say that Owensville Church is going to be having a pancake supper Friday night, and I believe the American Legion is going to be having a pancake supper Saturday night.
Right.
Post number 94, Shirley Hill Post 94. So, if you like pancakes, you can have a Friday night and Saturday night. And if you have diabetes, you can take some extra insulin or metformin. Oh my.
If you eat pancakes, one like sausage next night.
Yeah. Like Benny said, Owensville's having their pancake supper Friday night. April the 5th, the travel baseball team for Greene County will be having a fundraiser golf tournament at Cutter Creek. They want to go to Cooperstown. I reached out to Tans Incorporated, which owns Bojangles here, to a friend of mine. Bojangles will be a corporate sponsor for that. So they're going in the right direction. Also, April the 6th, Shine will be having their steak dinner and their raffle.
Reverse roll.
Reverse roll.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Okay. Anyone else?
Move to go into closed session,
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman.
March the 22nd. Pancake supper.
What day is our church? I don't know what ticket. What day is tickets say?
I think it's a, what day did that ticket say, Teresa? I didn't hear.
Hey, I don't have no more tickets, so I can't even look.
I think it was, what day did you say?
We get about 10 tickets.
Teresa, what day is the pancake supper at church?
Last 30.
in March, this month,
Yeah, okay.
$8 though, is cheaper than what y'all is.
But they have on pancake supper.
Who is?
All you can eat.
Which church?
Jerusalem, ain't that right?
Jerusalem.
All right,
Oh, Jerusalem, okay.
Jerusalem Church.
the 104th stop.
She said last Saturday,
That's the 22nd,
that's the 30th.
30.
That's the day before Easter.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll have another meeting between now and then.
So do I have a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of attorney-client privilege?
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion signify so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. We're going into closed session.
You gonna go with me, James?
I don't know, I think I'm already booked on somewhere.
But,
Yeah,
It goes a lot.
I go every time that I.
yeah, I understand.
I'd love to give.
Yeah, I'm gonna get Kyle to go with me this time.
Oh, look at that face.
Ooh, way to grow. We were talking about that this morning. You know, I wanted to be a dentist there when I was young. I was like, no, I don't.
We're back in the regular session.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I did want to remind you all and the public that March 8th, 9 a.m., we'll have the Greene County Board of Commissioners Planning and Visioning session, just going over some annual topics for discussion for current and future purposes. And of course, we'll have some lunch for you all. Thank you.
Where are we gonna get lunch from?
Chick-fil-A, I believe. They have a nice box lunch.
Hearing nothing else, Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion of adjournment signify so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the motion is carried.